What's happening, everyone? Michael Olivas here. I asked my future scheduled guests to adapt their advice and responses to current times. This is a COVID-19 special edition where I will ask entrepreneurs how this current epidemic is affecting their business and life and what their advice is for you. I get it, Life Nation. I'm not just a podcast host. I'm an entrepreneur, just like you. My companies are having to pivot and innovate just to stay afloat, and I'm hearing it from guests and colleagues alike. Stay motivated, refocus, and trust me that those companies and individuals who truly strategize to get through this will flourish when it inevitably comes to an end.
You're listening to the Business and Life Podcast, where 7 days a week, proven entrepreneurs share their success stories, failures, and give you true value on how you can build a great business and an awesome life. With your host, Mike Olivas.
What's happening, guys? Today I'm chatting with Lisa Manyon, the business marketing architect and president of Ride On Creative. She pioneered the simple, value-based three-step challenge, solution, innovation, communication framework to create marketing messages with integrity with a focus on passion points. Her strategies are known to create million-dollar results. She's a #1 international best-selling author, consultant, and speaker dedicated to reverse engineer your most powerful solutions into profitable revenue streams. All right, Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for being on. So tell our listeners something interesting about yourself and also where you're calling in from today.
Sure. Well, I'm calling in from magical Ashland, Oregon. And let's see, what's interesting about me? I don't know. What do you want to know?
Oh, you tell me. I guess we're open books here at Business and Life. So maybe something that a lot of people think is unique about you.
Well, I would say one of the most unique things is that I'm a cancer thriver. So a few years ago, I had a super rare and aggressive type of cancer and was able to heal that with love and surgery, no chemo, no radiation, but lots of natural foods, basically eating organic and juicing. So that's kind of interesting and unusual.
That is awesome. And I knew you were holding an awesome bomb back there, which was great. Thank you for sharing that. So you healed totally naturally.
Well, yeah, I mean, surgery definitely happened because the tumor needed to be removed for sure. But yeah, basically I just started eating completely clean, no processed foods, which was a challenge for me because I joke and say that my 4 favorite food groups were coffee, wine, chocolate, and cheese.
Those aren't bad, but I am glad that you recovered and you're healthy and you're rocking out here in the Business and Life podcast with us today. So tell us a little bit about your company. Tell us about Ride On Creative. What does it do? What kind of value does it bring to your clients?
Yeah, you bet. So Ride On Creative is actually 17 years young this year, or will be this year in October, which is super exciting for me. And basically, it's a marketing and communications and strategy firm. And so I specialize in reverse engineering my clients' most powerful solutions into profitable revenue streams and then helping them flip the script to focus on passion points instead of pain points in creating their marketing messages. And I pioneered a communication framework called the Challenge, Solution, and Invitation Framework that allows people to naturally connect with their ideal clients and really just have a conversation instead of being too salesy or too pushy in all of our marketing communications. It works way better than pain point marketing. And it really brings everything into alignment in accordance to our values and our vision and our mission, which is what it's all about.
Tell me a little bit more about, you just mentioned pain point marketing, which I think is the norm out there, right? Where, why is that a outdated way of doing things?
Well, it's psychological manipulation to begin with. Sure. And if we look into the history of marketing, advertising, and copywriting, and even publicity, we see people like Edward Bernays, who was Freud's nephew, who created manipulation, marketing, and publicity, and really coined that, and used it to help, promote things like cigarettes. When back in the day, doctors were smoking cigarettes, and it was supposed to be good for you, right?
Right.
So, digging a little bit deeper into the pain point marketing, the psychology behind that is that people will move away from pain more quickly than they'll move towards a solution if they want. But I think we've evolved as people to shift that. And also, I mean, when you poke at pain points, you're really highlighting the problem that someone's having. While we need to know what a problem is to solve it, it's not necessary for us to drag people down into the emotional depths of their despair to be of service. In fact, it's actually counterproductive. So I've been flipping the script for well over a decade when I first started watching this happen, and it's working.
No, I absolutely agree. And a lot of people will go back and forth on things that we were probably all taught, whether you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s plus. We were all taught in our trainings or in our books that we read about the pain point marketing. What is a pain point? Then reverse engineer around their pain point. Then you start target demographic, and then you start touching every social media and SEO outlet that you can to create leads based around a pain point, right? And there's a lot of, I think, marketing gurus out there on the same level. I think that will admit that. Listen, I mean, at the end of the day, they're already coming to your website. The pain has been created. They already know that they have an answer to that needs to be something that needs to be answered, right? So it's kind of like you don't got to put, you don't got to put lighter fluid on the fire here when we already know there's a pain point. Let's just talk to them about it. And I think organic and transparency has really come to light over the past decade, likely over the past 5 years, even more, as transparency, organic kind of marketing, or just simply being real is winning the game. But it's so different because I'm a sales guy, and I was a sales guy, not as much as anymore now that I kind of operate or more of an owner than I am even a CEO. But when it comes to that mindset, I can see how they might be a little bit different or harder to kind of approach on, hey, don't go to the pain points. Just be real, because they're so used to being salesy, right?
Well, yeah, and rolling into that scarcity mentality, right? As if there isn't enough to go around, and there truly is, right? Especially when you own your magic, whatever that might be,
right?
And you're really coming from a place of service, you're aligned with your values, everything's in absolute energetic alignment, then it's so easy to connect with who you're supposed to serve instead of trying to force people to do business with you. I mean, I don't even believe in overcoming objections, and coming from a sales background, and I've come from a sales background as well, you'll probably think, well, what the heck is that all about? And the truth is, if I ever have to even overcome an objection for anyone, I just say, you know what, it's not a right fit. Here's what I have to offer. This is what I do. This is how I can help you grow your business. My strategies are known to create $1 million results. I can't guarantee I'm going to do that for you, but let's talk about what you really want to do, and then let's go to work or not. It's that simple, and there's no need to force someone to do business with you, because you don't really want to play with people that don't want to play with you or that aren't ready, right? So,
do you feel it's contradictory at this point? My question, I guess, for you, Lisa, would it be contradictory to say, well, at that point, you're building trust more than you are selling a service? And is that contradictory to you're still selling something? You're still selling yourself or your service? Okay.
I mean, we're always selling, but here's the thing: you don't have to be salesy when you sell, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's the big shift, which is really, it's kind of a subtle shift actually, but it's so much more effective because, I mean, if you think about it, if you look at the problem, agitate, and solve antiquated pain point approach that we've all been taught, and yes, identifying the problem makes sense, but poking at those pain points and agitating those pain points doesn't. And when you look at it and you ask yourself, like, when was the last time I was thoroughly agitated and decided to buy something? What happens in that case is often it perpetuates buyer's remorse and return rates, because people are being emotionally manipulated and forced into something for multiple reasons. I mean, it could be a salesperson's trying to make their quota and they really want to get the sale in. It could be, that they were just taught antiquated approaches and haven't yet unlearned techniques that might not be serving them.
What's happening, Life Nation? Michael Levis here. This is a time to do the right thing, not the profitable thing. I'm giving away COVID-19 business strategy sessions for free. I promise to give you my honest advice and coach you on a strategy that I feel would be best for the longevity of your business. I'm not asking you for your money, but in the interest of being able to help as many people as I can, I am asking you to be ready with your 1 to 2 specific questions so we can jump right into it. Go to michaellevis.com/coaching and simply schedule a call on my calendar. That's MIKEOLIVAS.com/coaching. Do you feel that, the old saying, or maybe still saying, that most sales and I know we're going off the sales here. We're going to jump off the topic of COVID as well and some of the challenges, but going off of what your expertise world is, and obviously some of the services and that you offer your clients in Right On Creative, is there a true approach or true, I guess, validity to people still buying based off of emotional buys?
Well, absolutely. I mean, emotions have to be involved in everything that you do. But when you're aligned with your values and you're amplifying positive emotions, and I
Yeah.
call them, the passion points, right? Then absolutely, because you're really painting a picture of possibility instead of pulling people into the pain points and into despair. It's a completely different energetic shift, but it works even better, right?
Yeah.
So emotions are always, always, involved. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. If someone doesn't like you, they're probably not going to buy something from you.
Right.
And that's
Right.
an emotional decision.
Yes, it is. And at some point, I mean, it's just how do we get to that trust factor sooner than later, and or obviously there's a lot of different angles to do so, whether it's content or social proofing, et cetera. Given our current situation here, Lisa, with COVID-19 and everything going nuts around the world, uh, it's affecting entrepreneurs nationwide, worldwide, of course. Can you share with us if this has affected your company personally?
Sure. Well, I'm really lucky because I've created multiple streams of revenue, and there are many different ways that I serve my clients. So I actually work with from mission-driven entrepreneurs and business owners that are online, some are brick and mortar, to larger corporations like B corporations that are doing multiple millions, right? So I'm lucky and blessed to have several retained clients. So it's kind of been business as usual for me. And I've actually had requests rolling in, people wanting web copy, people wanting some coaching and consulting, things like that happening. So I feel very blessed. And at the same time, I very intentionally created a mobile lifestyle. I work from my home office. I have very low overhead, yet I have a global presence and work with clients even internationally. So in that case, in this case, at this point, everyone's still doing pretty well. And so I'm okay. I also, though, I'm super sensitive to some of the smaller clients that I work with who are being impacted, were, for instance, maybe not set up to do things online, who hadn't actually created multiple revenue streams. And this really does then impact them in a multitude of ways. And even just in our local community, this is a tourism town. So the Shakespeare Festival is one of the largest employers and also one of the largest draws for tourism. And they're shut down through September and laid off, I think it was 80% of their staff. So that impacts the entire economic structure of the town itself.
Yes, the definitely the travel, the tourism. My largest company is National Group Travel, and 80% of our revenues stopped right when this all happened. So actually, the exact same number, 80% of our staff also unfortunately had to stop. And so tough decisions are being made everywhere. Hence why, if anything was going to go, some of our fixed costs, some of our subscription models, things that I know we can keep trying to lower the number. What wasn't going to go is this podcast. We've had 15,000 listeners over the past 14 days, and we'll have likely a lot more over the next 15 days or 14 days as well. And sure, this is some spike, of course, given because people are home, right? Watching a lot of YouTube, a lot of Netflix, glad that they're consuming some hopefully good content to create a little bit of hopefully motivation. And that wasn't going to go for me. I want to make sure the message still gets across, and people like you, of course, Lisa, giving us some more information on, advice, I guess. And I want to make sure people know out there that they're not alone. Of course, they know they're not alone, but hearing that they're not alone, I think really helps. And it gets them some ideas. And I dropped the top 10 things to do now recently on the podcast, as far as my own thoughts about what to do with the company to kind of keep it to survive and even thrive when the time comes, when business does open back up. What's the best position, right, that you can be in? And those are the companies and the people that are really going to skyrocket when the time comes, in my opinion. What specific advice would you give to some of the business owners out there that are listening, who are going through, the epidemic, and like all of us here, that are losing employees or having to get rid of employees, et cetera?
Well, there's some really great programs available through the Small Business Administration, and then some local banks and also credit unions. I check into in your area, wherever you might be, whoever's listening, right, are offering different short-term loans for and payroll and different things like that. So I definitely look into what the Small Business Administration has to offer if you're in that position. I'm in a pretty good position where I don't have a lot of overhead, meaning I work mostly with independent contractors, have a couple of assistants that don't have to be in as much of a crunch as others. So I feel really badly for those who are struggling and who have to figure out how they can make payroll. So those are some good resources as well. And also get creative. I mean, I've seen a really great example is I go and work out several times a week at a bar fitness class. And of course, that was shut down. All gyms have been shut down. And the instructor has done a fabulous job of pivoting. And so she's now doing everything on Zoom and on Instagram and able to still serve her clients, but in a much different way. Now, did she have to pivot quickly and learn new technology? Absolutely. But she did it. And I'm grateful because otherwise I could just be, a lot of us are stuck at home and we're maybe eating a little more than we normally would, or we're doing different things like that to try and deal with the stress of it. And then there's also people who are in a really tough situation who aren't entrepreneurs and who are working paycheck to paycheck and who are in really difficult times as well. And my heart goes out to everyone in that situation. And again, I'd like to just suggest looking into your local United Way organizations. They always have great resources for anything, out there that can help with rental assistance, with food bank, things like that, because this is truly impacting everyone on all kinds of different levels. And so I think those of us who had the foresight just to create more mobile business models and multiple revenue streams should do whatever we can to help out and share resources and, do as much as we can.
Absolutely. I think that's great advice. And I think sharing resources, if you find something that's helpful to you, share it. All the top 10 that I gave wasn't just what I did for my company, but also those people like Lisa and others that I'm speaking to on a day-by-day basis, really a 7-day-a-week podcast, gives me the ability to kind of really tap into some great minds across the world, really. And I've been blessed to be able to talk to just to get some great advice and be a knowledge broker, if you will be out there and making sure that you're sharing whatever is working, whether it's business or whether it's life or whether it's great content that just is feeding you positive stuff, which versus all the negative crap out there about, hey, let's see if we're able to flatten the bar, flatten the curve. Like, okay, we get it. Like, at the end of the day, let's make sure you're feeding your mind the right stuff so you have the mindset to move forward positive. Who's a great fit for Right On Creative?
So I serve mission-driven entrepreneurs and business owners. So a lot of authors, coaches, speakers, even healers and light workers. I'm really good at bridging the language gap when people have a hard time communicating their message or have found people can't quite grasp their big vision. That's one of my gifts. I can kind of see into the soul of a business and tell where, what messaging is going to really serve them and attract their ideal clients. So I do that in a multitude of ways. I have message mastery sessions to help people get really clear on their message. I have copywriting programs if people want to learn to write their own copy better, and teaching my challenge solution invitation framework to flip the script and focus on those passion points instead of pain points. And then I do exclusive and customized retained agreements where I offer consulting and content creation. So, it depends on your business model, but here's what I can say. As long as you are in this world and you're doing what you're meant to be doing in the world and you're doing something that actually helps the world in a positive way, I can help you. And those are my criteria. I have to be in alignment with what the people are doing that I serve, and they have to have really great values and really want to make the world a better place. And then we can play. And
if our listeners out there want to learn more about you and your company, where can they find you?
They can find me at Right On Creative, and that's WRITEONCREATIVE.com. And I offer a copywriting action plan that's complimentary and tons of great resources on my blog too.
And out of all your successes and your failures in business and in life, what is the one piece of parting advice that you'd give to the business and life listeners today?
Stay true to yourself and tap into your values.
Awesome. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for dropping some of those knowledge bombs with us today. We'll make sure that we get this all into the show notes. You'll see some of these bombs being dropped piece by piece on every level of where it's coming from, what timestamp it's on. So again, thank you for your time and giving us all of the information that you gave us.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Life Nation, you got to remember that in order for things to change, you must change. And in order for things to get better, you must get better. You just got better by hanging out with me, Michael Levis, and the Business and Life Nation. So come back tomorrow because I'm here dropping sound bombs 7 days a week, baby. If you'd like to subscribe, please do, so you can take action and execute. See you tomorrow.